When Disneyland first opened its gates to the public way back in July of 1955, Tomorrowland was one of the most empty parts of the park. The land was barren. It was more thought of as an afterthought, with more focus put on areas like Main Street and other areas, and Fantasyland, of course. What it was so much of an afterthought that they planted weeds and placed plaques with the scientific name of the weeds. Much of Tomorrowland was seen as more of a corporate showcase with sponsors such as Monsanto and later General Electric with the opening of Carousel Progress. In the next 10 years, Tomorrowland would get a few updates with the expansion of things like the 1959 expansion, which has debatably the Matterhorn, the monorail, submarine voyage, and Monsanto's House of the Future. As part of what Walt Disney called plussing the park, many additions were made, one of them being the Flying Saucers of Tomorrowland. Flying Saucers of Tomorrowland. So Disney had always had an idea for a bumper ride, like a bumper boat, bumper cars, all the different things. Way back in 1954, concept art was even drawn for a little attraction in Fantasyland called Duck Bumps, a bumper boat ride to be themed to Donald Duck. In the early 60s, development began on another bumper ride called the Flying Saucers of Tomorrowland. The Duck Bump, I will mention, was supposed to be like a boat, like bumper boats. The Flying Saucer vehicle was developed by Disney Imagineer Bob Gurr, who is a very famous Imagineer. He has Matterhorn, Autopia, and many other ride systems under his portfolio. Flying Saucers was actually a patented technology by the ride manufacturer Aero Development, who you might know manufactured many Disney rides, including Mad Tea Party, and like many rides from 1955 to 1971. The Flying Saucers of Tomorrowland opened August 6, 1961. In the Flying Saucers, one guest would sit aboard a flying saucer and would tilt their body to move the flying saucer. Wherever you would move, these air valves would actually actuate under you with a similar effect that is used in like air hockey. Guests would try to move around and bump other flying saucers. This may sound fun, and you may be asking, why don't I have a flying saucers anymore? Why can't I just walk into the park, walk into the gate, scan my Magic Key or one-day ticket, walk down Main Street, take a right by Plaza Inn, and go into Tomorrowland and ride this? You may be asking. In his book, Disney A to Z, which I actually have, it's a really good book, Dave Smith says that the technology was not perfected on this attraction. The attraction was actually constantly breaking. It was constantly down, and it was stated as being a headache for technicians, and they tried their best. They would constantly try to keep this ride up to keep guests happy and therefore keep their bosses happy, but they eventually kind of just gave up on this ride with the advent of the refurb of Tomorrowland. Disneyland, as you know, is not like Walt Disney World with copious amounts of space. In Disneyland, they actually have to like replace things a lot of times because of the low space they have. Although back then they had more space, but they wanted to add lots of new attractions here. The new Tomorrowland would open in 1967. The ride was stated as being expensive to operate, had low capacity due to just only one person being able to ride per time on each flying saucer. It had low capacity, as I said, and was not worth it for park operations in general, which led to its demise. In 1967, New Tomorrowland opened, and it had new attractions, including the People Mover, which is a very good attraction, and they should definitely bring it back, and I'll probably do an episode on it. But I want to like develop my editing style a little bit more, but doesn't matter. And Adventure Through Inner Space. As I said before, the Flying Saucers were nowhere to be found on the opening of Tomorrowland. The Flying Saucers closed September 5th, 1966, along with the rest of Tomorrowland for this refurbishment. In its place, you would find on opening day of New Tomorrowland, in its place, you would find the Tomorrowland stage, which is also no longer with us because it got replaced by Space Mountain in 1977. Therefore, the Tomorrowland stage lasted a decade. Flying Saucers had a short lifespan, but it will be remembered But this story, pause right now. You think this story is over? It is not over, because Disney thought it would be a good idea to bring this ride back, kind of, on June 15th, 2012. Across the street from Walt's original Magic Kingdom, you could find a reincarnation of the original flying saucers. The attraction was originally named Luigi's Roaming Tires, was announced in 2007 along with the rest of Cars Land. This attraction was heavily based on the flying saucers, and it was kind of basically the same experience. Except it had different theming. Obviously, it wasn't themed to like aliens and flying saucers and Space Age. Obviously, it was based on the Cars movie with the tire, and it's Luigi from the movie and Guido, and I love that. Cars is a good movie. You should go watch it. But they also, when it first opened, to make it more interesting, they threw some beach balls in there, in the flying saucers, to kind of liven it up. But due to incidents caused by guests getting hit by beach balls are actually removed. Just a few years later, surviving even less than the flying saucers, Luigi's Flying Tires closed to make way for a reworked attraction. Just about a year later, after the closure, Luigi's Rollickin' Roadsters would open, and was the first trackless ride in Disneyland Resort. It was a trackless dancing ride where different music would play. Kind of reminds me to the new trackless ride, Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway, who has a little dancing scene in the end with Daisy, which is kind of cool. But I've actually never ridden Luigi's Rollickin' Roadsters. I don't think I need to ride it to experience it, because I can just look at it and tell. I do like trackless rides. I like the idea, especially with things like Rise of the Resistance. I like it when it works, because if there's always down, I don't think it is necessarily a huge upgrade in a track. But if they can get it working, then great. And Luigi's Rollickin' Roadsters, I think it was kind of a test run to see if this full trackless ride system would work. They had kind of already done it before with things like the Tower of Terror. The Tower of Terror was the first trackless system that I know of. I'm probably wrong. Either that, yeah. Tower of Terror in Walt Disney World has a trackless system to move you through the scene of the intro, obviously. And you go through, and it's really cool. I like trackless. Luigi's Rollick, I do not know why they decided to bring, it was a good idea to bring Luigi's Flying Tires back. You can tell that was a little bit of failure with how short it survived. And Cars Land was actually received very well, so this was kind of like the black sheep, like the odd one out for the kind of Cars Land success. So thank you guys for watching. I kind of went on a tangent for the last minute and a half there, but you guys, I would love if you comment. What do you think of the video? Any tips? Any ideas for future videos? Any things you want to hear me talk about? And thank you guys for watching, and bye.